Hey! Alright, we're here to talk a little bit about chemical safety. And here at Goodwill, we follow the Globally Harmonized System, or GHS. Now, the GHS has a lot of different components that are involved in it, and whenever you get to your department, you will get more specific chemical training based on how you handle chemicals and how chemicals may be used in your particular area.
So why is this important? It's important because it's your right to understand. Understand the dangers in working with chemicals here in the workplace.
The purpose of the OSHA GHS is for employers to develop a program that addresses the normal and foreseeable emergencies involving chemical use in the workplace. We do this through the creation of Goodwill's Safety and Emergency Procedures Resource Manual. This manual is available at every site and it's access to every employee. Now, inside the manual, it starts off with our safety policy. This policy is the overarching governance of how we want to operate safely. And then you're going to notice that we have tabbed out the locations, and in this section we're going to focus on tab number 3. And in tab 3 is Goodwill's Hazard Communication Policy. The Hazard Communication Policy is the first step of the GHS, as this contains all of the information regarding any chemical that's authorized for use at Goodwill. In here you're going to have a wealth of information, and again, based on what chemicals you use in your site, you'll want to review this information and you'll get more detailed training from your supervisor as needed. Again, this book is an open resource for every employee. We encourage you to use it. Inside this manual, you're also going to find copies of our safety data sheets, or SDS sheets as they're referred to. Now, the safety data sheets have everything and anything that you may want to know regarding the chemicals that we use here in the workplace. And they composed of 16 sections that goes through the product information, the manufacturer, the dangers and the hazards that are involved with chemicals, the composition, the first aid, the firefighting measures that are needed, anything that you might need to know whenever you're working around chemicals. These sheets are required to stay with your chemical supply at the location, and we keep copies here in the book as a backup. If there's ever a chemical emergency, this is the go-to information for how we would handle, treat, or clean up. One of the bigger changes with the GHS that directly impacts you is the addition of signal words to our labels and to our safety data sheets. These signal words are warning and danger. If you see warning or danger on the label, there will be specific instructions on how you should handle that chemical, and you should follow those instructions to the letter. If you have any questions or concerns, see your direct supervisor. In addition to the new signal words of warning and danger, you will also find pictograms now on our labels and in our SDS sheets. These pictograms are going to give you a very quick look at the dangers or the hazards involved with working with this particular chemical. When you see these pictograms, it means there's more information that you may need to review when using the particular substance that you're using. This can involve anything from a health hazard, to it being flammable, to it being possibly a poison, or corrosive, or toxic. Now, these pictograms are important. You need to be able to identify what the pictograms are, and this will be something that we're going to test you on later. So please take a look at the pictograms on the screen and make sure that you can identify these pictograms from a list. Is product labels. Now, at a lot of our locations, you're going to use secondary containers, or in essence, spray bottles. Now, the important thing for all of us to remember whenever we work with spray bottles or any other secondary container is that it has a label. If it has no label, we don't use it. It needs to be discarded. We always need to know what is in the bottles. And we never open the bottles and give it a sniff test or try to figure it out. If we don't know, we don't use it. Here's a sample label, something similar to what you would see on the side of one of our bottles. Now on the label it has a lot of different parts, everything from the pictograms to signal words that are going to tell you if there's a danger or a hazard. You're also going to find a hazard statement and precautionary statements that are going to give additional details as to what you would need to do to protect yourself. There'll be a product identifier that's going to tell you what the chemical is, and a supplier identification to let us know who manufactured it. The purpose of having this new label is to really help us have everything we need to have on hand in the event of a chemical emergency. Okay, so let's take a second here to review, because we've gone over a lot of information, and really this is important. And remember, the GHS, and the reason that we're reviewing this information is because it's based on the standard that says this is your right to understand. That's important. You have the responsibility of understanding the dangers and the hazards that are involved in working with chemicals. We want to make sure that we give you everything that you need to be prepared. Alright, here again is another look at the signal words of warning and danger and the pictograms that go along with them. The health hazard pictogram indicates that the chemical may be a possible carcinogen or pose a danger to our bodies. The flame is indicating that the chemical is possibly flammable and that caution should be taken when using the chemical around open flames. The exclamation mark means that we need to take caution, or there's some type of danger or warning that we need to pay attention to when using the chemical. Skull and crossbones. Skull and crossbones is indicating that the chemical has an acute toxicity, or in essence, another way to look at it is it's possibly poisonous if we were to ingest it. The gas cylinder is an indication that there is gas under pressure, and that we need to be careful if it's heated, it could possibly explode. A corrosion is anything that would possibly cause damage to our skin. Exploding bomb is really self-explanatory. It means that the chemical inside has the possibility to explode or expand. Flame over circle is an oxidizer. That means that chemical, if added to fire, will make the fire even bigger. The last pictogram that we have is really an optional pictogram, and it's environment. Now, the environment pictogram is indicating to us that there's proper disposal that's needed of the chemicals. We should not just pour it down the drain. Okay, so that's the GHS. I mean, that's an introduction to really chemical safety here at Goodwill. Again, to stress, this is your right to understand. This is based upon that standard. We want to make this information available to you. You should pay attention to the two signal words that we have and that will be found on your labels as well as in your SDS sheets. And those two signal words are warning and danger. New pictograms will also be found on the labels, and those pictograms you've seen, and now you understand as far as how they play in their interaction with chemicals. Again, this information can be found in further details in your books that will be at your location sites, and if you have any specific concerns or questions, please see your direct supervisor. They will be able to give you more detailed training that is specific to the chemical use that you'll have in your job. For some of us in our laundry plant, we'll be working with a lot more chemicals than those of us in our stores or in our donation centers. It's been a great pleasure. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.